morning. This morning, my friends, we have come together to share our sorrow and bid farewell to Sandy. Today, we recall the blessing of her life, and we thank God for all that was good and true in her life, and for the precious memories that shall endure. Eternal God, Creator, merciful Father of all, your children bowed in grief seek light to dispel the dark gloom. Be gracious to those who mourn, for they are in distress. Bless them with your compassion, ease their burden of sorrow, send them light and peace. In this time, we now listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with our Creator in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Psalm 23. First in Hebrew. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai Roi lo chasar, Binodesha yerbatzeni, Almei menuchot yinhaleni, Nafshi yeshovev, Nachenem alaglei tzedek leman shemo, Lo irara ki ata imadi, Shiftecha mishantecha hema yenachumuni, Torach lefanai shochan neged sorarai, Dishanta Vashem and Roshi kosi rinaya, Achto bechesed yirafuni kol yemei hayai, V'shavti bebeit Adonai, Le'orech Yamim. The English translation can be found in our booklets, the second to last page at the bottom, in the middle of the page, the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Sandy was born in Chicago, Illinois, on December 31st, 1937, to the late Mina and Isidore Handelman. She attended the University of Minnesota and received a degree in recreational therapy. When she started college, she had the honor and the pleasure and the blessing to meet Gerald. They were fixed up by a mutual friend. He was starting medical school. And they were married a few years later in Chicago on January 1st, 1959, one day after her birthday. Unfortunately, they had to cut their honeymoon short so he could finish a term paper and she could type it up for him. Fortunately, they stayed happily married for 56 years. Sandy switched programs to recreational therapy so she could graduate with Gerald. Then they moved to California for an internship, then back to Minnesota for his residency. What made their marriage work? They understood each other. There weren't conflicts. They loved and adored each other. They had good friends that enjoyed spending time with. One time their good friends had invited a priest to dine with all of them. It was up to Sandy to cook. She only knew old Jewish dishes, ones like kasha that the priest had never eaten before. Fortunately, he loved it. Sandy had come through. And they loved to travel to California, Montana, Israel. They especially loved the British Isles. England and Scotland were their favorites. During the Korean War, they were drafting doctors and specialists. And Gerald was sent to Great Lakes, Illinois, which was near Sandy's parents, who were in Chicago. And they came often to help with the greatest blessing of their lives, their 3 children, Naomi, Michael, and Philip. In 1963, after his service, Gerald was offered a position at Baylor here in Houston. They never left Houston, Texas. Later, he became a neurologist in private practice. Sandy became very active throughout the Houston community. She was president of the auxiliary of the American Neurological Association. They would have meetings and conferences all over the country. She was a Girl Scout leader, the president of the PTA, and at one time was a partner at a needlepoint shop. She loved arts and crafts. She learned about them growing up at camps in Wisconsin. She liked knitting. Sandy cherished being Jewish. She adored Rabbi Siegel, currently the Rabbi Emeritus at Beth Yeshurun. But at the time, she kept a very strict kosher home, so Rabbi Siegel would be able to come over to her home and eat. She was involved with the congregation and in the school where her children attended. One time she took Philip to school. He decided he didn't like it and left. Sandy was beside herself. Fortunately, they found him later in the neighborhood, together again. And as the children got older, she eventually worked in Gerald's office. She became a very effective office manager, and they enjoyed working together for many, many years. Sandy was outgoing, there to help, giving, caring. She liked entertaining friends, gardening, group antique shopping, and traveling. And she made friends easily, and she kept them for a very long time, making many lifelong friends. She was loyal to all those she had the opportunity to have in her life. Sandy today is survived by her loving husband Gerald, her 3 children Naomi, Michael, and Philip, her brother Joel Handelman and his wife Sarah, her cousin Edward and his wife Judy, and their children, and of course by loving friends and family throughout the community. Sandy, this morning we say to you, Lech b'shalom, go in peace. We say farewell with pride that we knew you, with admiration for your strength and spirit, with gratitude for all that you gave us. We say farewell with the prayer that God will grant you everlasting shalom, everlasting peace, and the reward which the good and the loving receive in God's presence. Zikrona livracha. May our memory be for a blessing always. And let us say, Amen. I'll now ask you to rise for the Jewish memorial prayer, the El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shakein B'marumim, Hameritza Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashkina, B'ma'alot Kedoshim, Utohorim, Kezor Harakia Masirim, Et Nishmat, Sarah Bat Yisrael V'mina, Shalacha Le'olama, Began Eden Te'eh Menuchata, Ana Baal Harachamim, Hasterecha Beseter Kenafecha Le'olamim, Bitzror Hahayim Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachalata, B'tanuach B'shalom, Al Mishkava, B'nomar. Amen. El Malei Rachamim, exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Sarah Bat Yisrael V'mina, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life, and may she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. Amen. V'yashov ha'afar ha'aretz k'shahaya v'haruach tashuv el ha'elohim asher netana. The dust returns to the earth as it was, but the spirit returns to God who gave it. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'chanun. The Lord our God is a compassionate God. He understands our pain and He shares our anguish. The dust returns to the earth from which it came, but the spirit goes back to God who gave it. What we put away are only the earthly material remains of the one we loved and cherished. What has been most precious to us never dies, but continues to bless and inspire us on the paths of life we tread. Their good name is a crown that never fades. Their good life is a priceless memory to all their dear ones and to all of us. Receive in mercy and loving kindness, O Lord, the soul of our dear departed. Grant her that everlasting peace and bliss which are our portion in the world to come. May we all be given the strength, the courage, and the faith to be worthy of life and of the memory of those we loved. I now ask you to join me in the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish, which can be found on the very back page. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabba, v'yamad divrach yirutei v'yalmich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'yemru amen, yehei shmei Rabba mevorach leolam omei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekurusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, u'ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. In just a moment, we'll have an opportunity to participate in the burial. It's a Jewish custom to take some of the dirt, to participate, to give back to someone who gave us so much in her life. Hamakom yirachem etchem. May God in our tradition offer comfort to her family, to all those who mourn for Sandy today, and all those who mourn for Zion and Jerusalem. I'll ask just the immediate family to come first, and then participate in the burial. Then we will close, and then we will ask everyone who would like to then participate in the burial as well. And then when they are finished, we'll have the opportunity to recite the mourner's Kaddish again. I'll now ask everyone to please rise as we recite the mourner's Kaddish again. Yitzkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbi, v'yamad divrach yiruteh, v'yamik machuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon chayeh d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'yemru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbi mevorach le'olam omei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kedusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, u'ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who makes peace make peace for all of us. And may Sandy always rest in peace. Amen. And this concludes our service this morning.